disappear from my hangar in any way, shape, or form.
Nothing bad will happen to you.
Absolutely. Holy crap, my sound works this week. Amazing.
Holy Jesus Christ.
Hello, everybody. We're back from, Eric's self-imposed hiatus because he's stupid. Okay, so hey, it's December 2nd. It is the second day of your Advent calendars. Topic later in the show. And we are here with Soth, McLeod. Did I hear a random Dirk somewhere or something? I don't know.
No, not at all.
No random Dirks. Okay.
It's Bard Ghost in disguise, I believe.
Oh, Bard. Yeah. Okay. Whatever. Yeah. I'm just trying to muddle through. Not really good at this at all. So,
No. It in fact actually is Dirk. Bard Ghost is not here. Yeah. He is. He has had to. He did one of these things that is very rare for an EVE Online player to do. He went to a IRL social event.
Whoa.
Who the fuck does that?
He's cosplaying a Smurf today. Yeah,
he went to. What we could only figure out as to be a Smurf furry event. It's called. It's called SMRRF. And I can only imagine that is a Smurf furry event. So
I mean, he has confirmed that it is pronounced Smurf. So
that is also true.
Yeah, it must be.
I mean, I can
He's
literally,
cosplaying as well.
I can literally go in and screen grab that particular thing.
Also,
in fact, I will do because
Well, let me also say Dawn's here. She's on the beach. We'll see if we can get Dawn Cam. By the way, guys, since we're all watching Dawn Cam here in the back office side of the show here, you guys just missed 14 women in bikinis. Some should be in them. Some should not be in them. Just run by the thing. I was like, good thing we weren't showing that because that would be terrible. But it is in our IRL cam on the beach.
Mm-hmm.
So, sorry for interrupting. You guys do your thing. I'm going to go do production bullshit crap and try and get things working for our people.
Also, McLeod is frantically trying to patch his EVE client right now because he has a very exciting contract.
I'm sure nothing bad will happen to this contract when I accept it. I swear to God, if my Nix disappears from my hangar when I do this, I'm going to be really annoyed.
I should have actually picked some ships that you own.
I mean, to be fair, you could have just gone through a list of possible init doctrine ships and just gone, pick that, and just gone with that.
That potentially requires effort, but we are now straying into an EVE Online portion of the show during the Dawn Rule segment. Which is, as we all know, not acceptable.
I was about to pull that back.
It was not a full section. It was a teaser.
It was a teaser, and I just posted a link confirming that Bard Ghost it did say yesterday that yes, it is pronounced Smurf.
Okay.
So he is at what we can only imagine as being a Smurf furry event. So
he's trying to cosplay as a member of the Blue Man Group, but getting it wrong.
Okay. So are we clear to? I mean, by the way, this is just a really bad pull in of this window into our media thing. But just deal with my badness. Okay, it's part of the show. My technical badness in this, right?
Every so often we need to bring the jank back.
We're gonna transition right now to Dawn's beach cam. Okay, so you ready, Dawn?
Yeah. Dawn's not even listening to us.
She is. She's listening. All right, there we go. There we go. Well, there we go. We are back to Dawn's. Where are you, Dawn? Where are you? So that all your fans in the area can come run to you.
She's on holiday, it seems. She's taking yet another. So this is what
Dawn is like perpetual holiday girl.
I know.
Vacation number 10.
How many vacations have you had this year?
This year? I mean, it depends. Does the lake house count as a vacation?
Yes.
Sure.
Okay. Let's see.
That has just significantly increased the number of holidays Dawn has taken this year.
Oh,
So we had DC in January, then my birthday in March, and then we had a lake house for 2 months in June and July. I went up 3 times, so 3 little trips. And then I had a trip in August, which was 3 weeks.
7.
And now, yeah, 6 or 7.
So Dawn's taken 8 holidays this year.
Yeah.
Is what she's telling me.
You know, this is where we
now normally you would go she's living the dream, but typically when somebody's living the dream like this, other people are suffering, and I'm concerned how many
are you suffering, McLeod?
How many Filipino communities Dawn herself is literally financially abusing. So I don't know.
We potentially don't go with that line of argument today, McLeod, given what happened to the Philippines earlier today.
What happened?
Oh, shit. No, I'm out of the loop on that one. What the fuck happened there?
A 7.4 earthquake followed by a tsunami.
That's terrible.
Okay.
That's really bad.
Other Southeast Asian or maybe Central Asian or
I don't think she's anywhere near Asia.
South. Let's go South African. Just for the hell of it.
So, that's a nice lighthouse, Dawn. That's pretty cool. Oh yeah, the zip line out of the lighthouse. There you go.
Yeah, you zip line out of it all the way over there, so it goes over this bay.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna
that sucks for that earthquake for sure, because earthquakes are a real fucking
So with the tsunami on top, it's just
going
to be horrible for them.
So I'm going to channel a little and reconstruct a little Caddyshack here for Dawn, right? Because, there's a line in Caddyshack where, they're always at the club playing cards or whatever. Dawn, do you have a job? Do you work?
Yeah.
Or do you just vacation? Or do you just vacation? Because I think you just vacation.
She delivers Amazon parcels.
Yeah, there you go.
I work on the phone.
She delivers Amazon parcels. Eric might know a little bit about
that. All right, we're going back to...
Might have been really quite aggravated by,
we were a little. All right, we're coming back to the main screen. We're going off the beach cam.
Mm-hmm.
We'll let you know if we're coming back to you, because many people were upset. Okay, with
they were upset.
Yeah,
how were they upset?
People. Well, McLeod pre-show, he was upset that you were on the beach and he's freezing his ass off in Europe. Okay.
Well, I mean, I'm not freezing my ass off, but if I go out of this room, it's / out the house, it's going to be a lot colder than my ambient at the moment.
It is a bit chilly over here in Europe at the minute.
Just a little chilly.
Let's put it this way: I can't go outside and fucking sunbathe because I might actually die.
Yeah.
Hey, that sounds like a lack of effort from you, young man.
Earlier in the week, we had a nice little dusting. Early in the week here, we had a nice little dusting.
You have got a hustle on that sunbathing.
Just stack a whole bunch of those patio burner heaters around you.
Ooh, yeah.
I mean, you're more likely to get a tan from those than you are from the sun right now.
This is well, yes, because the sun is not in the sky right now.
It's 60 degrees Fahrenheit in American units. So to define, we had snow at the beginning of the week on the ground. Not a lot, just a nice little dusting. Really nice. But at 60 degrees, man, I'd be wearing shorts. I'd be wearing this top, and golfing, 6 degrees.
Well, 60 degrees Fahrenheit, that's okay. That's go out, do stuff, and not really be too concerned with feeling the cold or any way, shape, or form. That's that kind of weather.
can we is it okay if I move on to the Advent calendar section of the show?
Oh, I mean, Advent away, dude.
Okay. So some of our co-hosts here have not heard this story. However, McLeod saw it real time when it first came in. So you come into the 1st of December. It's the everybody has their little Advent calendar. Some have a little piece of chocolate. Some have different things, right? So those of you who are longtime watchers of the show know that Mrs. Asmock is how do we say not Christian. She might be Jewish, right? And so a couple funny happenstances happened today or this week. So she comes home after Black Friday, right? And she goes, "Hey honey, guess what I got us?" Right? And looking at her, and I have no idea, right? She goes, "I bought us an Advent calendar." And I looked at her kind of strangely, okay, cocked my head a little sideways, and I asked her, "Do you realize that you're Jewish?" And she goes, "But it's a cheese Advent calendar. We get different cheeses every day till Christmas Eve." Like that, okay, whatever. All right. So we forgot yesterday, and we had our first 2 cheeses here with McLeod. But the Advent calendars go bigger. Now again, I'm going to take you back to the beginning of the story, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mrs. Asmock is Jewish, right? The rest of it, I am not, right? Like my one son is Catholic. I'm Methodist. My daughter, she's not sure what she's going to do. And my other son, he's decided he's Jewish, right? So we're very, December is a lot of holidays for us, and we enjoy them all, right? So it's not Hanukkah yet, but she purchased and gave our daughter, who's 13, her first Hanukkah present so she could, wear the Hanukkah present now. I don't know why. Because... well, her Hanukkah present was an Advent calendar. Just let that sink in for the audience again, right? And it's a bracelet for every day of Advent, right? Soccer so blank.
So she's just going to end up with bracelets all up her arm, is what you're telling me.
I don't know if you wear them. I don't know if it's the old Madonna 18,000 bracelets on your wrist, right?
Exactly. It's got to be like that, right?
I haven't even seen them, but the first 2 days of bracelets are here, right? She wore her first one yesterday to school, right? And I'm sitting there going, I said, okay, number one, son, I said, you're doing the whole Catholicism thing. Can you please go over here into the living room and explain to your mother the whole thing of Advent? we are a family where none of this matters, none of this bothers each other, right? Well,
that's good.
Our whole family, right? The whole family, right? Her side, my parents, my sister, all them. We all just do the whole everything as a family, right? My family participates in Hanukkah and everything because we're just one big family, right? So it's still a little bit funny to tease your wife with a little bit, saying, "You realize you bought an Advent calendar for your daughter for a Hanukkah present." Okay. By the way, she knows. She goes, I said, this is going to be a topic on the show, right? I'm just going to call you out and the next Eve meet you're at or something, people are going to say, "Hey, you're the girl who bought the Advent calendar for Hanukkah." So yeah,
I mean, that is a weird one. That is a weird kind of mixing of
It's when you get to be the dad. You're sitting there going, it's like she comes in, my office door is over here, right? She comes in and she tells me about this, and I'm just like, really? Huh? You realize? You
know that when you sort of said that we were going to have a bit of a Advent calendar bit for the show, I went and literally looked for the weirdest Advent calendars of 2023.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we should.
One is the cheese Advent calendar, so congratulations, you're there.
We had
I've got one of those.
Yeah, we had cheese.
There are some weird ones. There are some weirder ones. The 12 Days of Noodles Advent Calendar is one of them, which would be a bit weird. I would say that there is a sexy Ann Summers sexual wellness Advent Calendar.
Sexual wellness Advent Calendar.
Yeah. Well, you've just got Sot's attention.
Yeah, so it's like, hang on, what's this?
No, you don't have my attention. Those are terrible. Like they fill them with junk that they can't get sold.
It sounds like
now hold it. Time out.
Time out. Experience. Yes.
Yeah.
Time out.
That's
okay. The fact that we brought this up and then Soth immediately answered, they're not any good because they just fill them with junk. I mean, are we going to investigate that?
Yeah.
The thing is,
I am never getting elected to any office.
Apparently, this is £100 Advent calendar, which has apparently £155 worth of stuff in it, and I'm sure that is that £155 valuation is valued by the same people who valued Trump's estates. So chances are,
you guys did
trash,
know the,
like you say.
You guys did know the development in that case, right? The guy
in that case all the goddamn time.
No, the guy from the bank. The guy from the bank came in and said, "Yeah, we did our own evaluations. We didn't use any of it." Whoops.
Oh, geez.
But yeah, Taco Bell Advent Calendar. That's good. Chili sauce would be a good one. The cheeses were good.
I'm certain
there are rum Christmas calendars.
I was going to say there's a Brewdog beer Advent calendar. It's actually quite large because obviously you have to fit like a small can of Brewdog into each one. I would say that the funniest one that the kind of like the most fun, I would say funniest, but not but also most dangerous one that I think I've seen is the Yankee Candle Advent calendar.
Ooh.
I would recommend you take the candle out before lighting it. Just saying.
Yeah. By the way, I am having grown up in the gift store business, right? And during the era when Yankee Candle exploded, I can't stand Yankee candles. Now my daughter loves it. Anything with scents she loves, right?
Yeah.
They actually, when they burn, they give me a headache. They're the only scented candle that actually does that. I actually get a headache from them.
Damn.
But I think,
that's kind of crazy.
They were cool. We sold the hell out of them when they first came on the scene. But yeah, by the way, when you were mentioning the weight of the, let me adjust my camera here a little bit. When you mentioned the weight of a certain, Advent calendar of a sexual nature, right? You said like 100 pounds or something like that.
Well, it's not weight in terms of, but like valuation, like it's 100.
100 pounds. Because being in America, I said pounds, and I'm sitting there going, that would be a great Advent calendar. If
I would be concerned as to what is contained in them and how big they are.
I have to finish that sentence because it sounds really bad. Okay. When you said 100 pounds, I'm like, that would be an excellent Advent calendar if it was like 100 pounds of chocolate.
I'm 22 kilos worth of chocolate or something.
That's probably a crazy one.
I'm just going to point out, it would also be a good offer if it was 100 pounds of adult toys.
Like weight.
Yes.
I'm wondering. I'm worried about how much latex is.
That's a significant.
It's pretty large amount.
I'm gonna say
items included in this is that like 5-gallon drum of lube from Amazon.
I'm gonna say right with chocolate.
You do realize how expensive good lube is, right?
No, tell us.
It's not cheap.
What? People, please, use lube.
Do we have any guesses? Oh my god!
If things are chafing, use lube. Jesus Christ! I would say that, like, you know, on that particular calendar, I imagine if there is one really big long door, that's probably, you know, what's going to be contained in that.
It doesn't matter what you're into, right? It doesn't matter what people you're into. Use lube, for fuck's sake.
But I would say,
for fuck's sake.
I literally, for fuck's sake. But I would say that it would be maniacal and quite evil for somebody to make an advent calendar like that, have the very large long door be the door before the door with lube. So you have to go through a whole day. That would just be horrible.
You know, did you guys ever watch the movie? Did you ever watch the movie Superbad?
Yeah.
With McLovin, right? He's got, you know, the hot girl, right? He's finally got her, you know. And he's like, I've got lube. And it's like one of those little sample packets. I've got lube. It's like, ooh.
Oh, God.
It's hilarious. All right.
But yeah, on the topic of the rum advent calendars stuff.
There you go.
I was looking at a whiskey one for this year.
There's a fever tree. There's a fever tree.
And then I went, like, that's a very expensive advent calendar.
It's not only that. The problem with the whiskey ones is that like 3/4 of them are terrible.
Yeah, like they're just random whiskeys that get pulled off tasting shelves, and you're talking about like 180 quid for 24 whiskeys across the month, and most of them you aren't gonna like. I mean, some of them you will really enjoy, but there's probably a slim majority that you're like, this is a very mediocre whiskey.
Yeah, and the thing with rum is that you can get decent rum for a low price, right? I remember we had this one bottle in Berlin. It wasn't an amazing rum, but it was drinkable.
This was the really surprising one, because it was actually dirt cheap, and we were like, all right, well, we'll give it a try and see what happens.
Yeah, and it was $10 a bottle, like 700 ml bottle for $10. Like, you can't argue with that.
It's not bad at all, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, by the way, Food and Wine.
Were you at all interested in that rum that I linked to you, by the way, a while back? It was the banana one.
Oh, right, yeah.
So foodandwine.com, by the way, has the 12 best whiskey advent calendars of 2023 ranked. And so they do it by best overall, best bourbon, best tasting experience, best variety, best tried and true classic. I'm a little frightened of that, because they said the best tried and true classic is the Jack Daniel's Holiday Countdown calendar.
I think somebody paid premium for that.
I think so. The best Scotch, the best Japanese whiskey advent calendar, the best splurge, and the best alcohol-free whiskey advent calendar. I'm like,
that's just no fun.
Yeah, that was. I was like, what?
For gin and tonic lovers out there are gin and tonic advent calendars as well. So
I'm sure.
If you like your gin and tonic, you can kind of get that.
Do you get the gin one day and then the tonic the next?
That would just be really harsh, I think. That would be really harsh.
I actually got my brother-in-law a couple bottles of.
You can get like pre-mixed gin and tonic in a little can thing, like from the supermarket and stuff. Like, I would imagine those are terrible.
Oh,
yeah. Where's Whippler when you need an expert on gin?
I got another wife story, alcohol related. So they were in Ohio, and as they say in Ohio, for those who don't know, it's Ohio. Okay, they're weird. All right. That's why we keep, like New Jersey, we keep them on their side of the border here.
That's why they should stay in Ohio.
Yeah. So, but so she's in a Target store, and for those in the United States, it's kind of like a little mini department store with could have groceries, could have everything, right? and they're there, and it's Sunday, and they're all little cheer moms, right, are there, and they found that, because we don't do this in Pennsylvania, okay? If you want wine or liquor, you go to the wine and liquor state store, right? But they had wine in the Target, right? So they're like, oh, let's have some wine, because, you got a bunch of cheer moms together. They're going to want to drink some wine at the hotel or whatever, right? So they're trying to buy this bottle of wine, right? And they're trying to, and it won't scan. It won't, and then like 3 people from Target come and they're like, we don't know why it's not scanning and you can't buy it, right? Anyway, it's Sunday. You can't buy alcohol on Sunday in Ohio.
Well,
So,
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Well, you can't do that in Kansas either. But, if you live in Kansas City, Kansas, you just get in your car and you drive to Missouri and you buy your alcohol on Sunday and you come back.
I guess there's workarounds. But land of the free?
This is the most American story ever.
I know, right? And I'm just going,
But there's like six cheer moms and 3 people that work at Target. You think the people that worked at Target would know that they don't sell alcohol on Sunday, right? They're all just put it through the little scanner and it's going beep, beep, they can't buy it.
Jesus Christ.
This is one of those things where I start adding states to my list of do not visit.
This is why Ohio is a flyover state, right? This is another reason why Ohio is a flyover state.
No, it's not all of them, but the list is shrinking.
You mean expanding? Because it's the list not to visit.
You gotta, you know what? You decide which states to go to in the United States when you come here, Dirk, and you gotta watch the Jolly Guys, okay, on YouTube. Okay? They will tell you all the places to go eat.
Okay.
Texas,
in Germany, all shops are closed on Sundays because it's a day for rest, and that includes people who work in the shops.
So Germany's like a flyover state on Sunday as well.
So you got to get your shit together and actually buy all the stuff you need on Saturday. Like a normal human being.
It's hard to be that organized. I don't know. I don't
that, or you just go fuck it and you go to a restaurant.
You're not going to get sympathy with that particular line from a German, so
that's just terrible. Hey, we're like well beyond the Don rule.
Oh yeah.
So, how is the patching going, Mac?
Oh shit, I forgot about that. Patching is done.
Yeah,
so I just needed to actually launch the fucking thing.
Yeah, you need to log in and accept that contract. I mean, it's a really exciting contract.
I'm sure it's gonna thrill me.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I could. So Starscream's out there talking about New Yorkers and New Jersey people.
This is the moment where Sothrasil, speaks out about the fact that he was the one who scammed everybody out of their AT ships, and he's just giving AT ships to his friends.
Rich. No, it wasn't me.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't me.
If
it wasn't me.
If it had been me, honestly, if it had been me, right, I would have put those ships into the prize pool for the next Anger Games, and I would have told the team, hey, look, sorry for doing this, but you got a chance to win them back.
Oh my god.
God, that would be so brutal. Jesus.
Is this why we're the Scamtastic edition?
Speaking of the next Anger Games, we should say Sothrasil and I have been working on points with some people recently for Anger Games 6, and we decided to throw people in the tournament scene a bone, because they've all been rabid about when scrim, when practice, when rules, when whatever. We threw them all a bone. So if you're listening and you're interested in the tournament scene, we've thrown you a bone. The points system, the points setup, points distributions for ships in Anger Games 6 are now live on our Discord server.
You heard it here first on Push to Talk, where we break all the important news.
And of course, it took all of 5 minutes for them to ask for the next thing.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Well, get crack-a-lackin'. Crack-a-lackin', Dirk. You didn't like me saying that, did you?
So McLeod, are you looking at that contract now?
Yeah, and
Are you excited about your
I feel like should I accept this contract? Yes. Ooh, what a lovely selection of contracts.
Which are lovely. Okay. Are there 24 of them? Is it like the Advent contract?
Okay. I think we need to actually tell people what's going on here.
Yeah. He sent me a fucking contract for me to pay 8 Cybels and 8 Shapesh. You fucking arsehole.
So, what has happened?
Do we really want to get into this right now?
Yes, we're getting into this right now.
We're doing this right now.
I mean, it's been half an hour, okay? We're well past the dawn rule.
I was sort of talking about. Do we want to get into some of the other Eve stuff before we start getting me onto a rant?
No, we want to get you into the rant.
There's a rant coming, but just prior to that, I'm just going to say because I know it happened, but we didn't say it straight out when it happened. But like
popcorn.
Greg, thank you very much for the time stuff, by the way.
Is that Greggles?
It might be Greggles. I don't know.
The Greg, are you Greggles?
But thank you very much for the sub. Enjoy your ad-free experience. I'm tempted to say congratulations for saying go fuck yourself. To the ads.
That was beautiful.
All right, Elon, calm down.
Hold on.
We can get into that.
You actually said go fuck yourself, right? You did say that.
Yeah, I did.
He said it live on air. We are no longer a family show this week.
Should I said go yourself?
No, it brought a tear to my eye when you said that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I had to mop it up. I was getting all teary-eyed.
Oh yeah.
Hi, Bob. That's awesome. Starscream.
You are an incredible advocate for free speech, McLeod.
I'm sorry. I want to do my thing of the week too, but after you do your thing, so do your thing.
Yeah. Anyway, right. So, scams.
So, to pick you all up, earlier this week.
Why are you picking them up? I mean, I don't think you're strong enough for that.
Yeah, I am. I mean, come on, you're not that big, Doug.
He's as strong.
You said all.
He's as strong. He's as strong as 10 Grinches.
Anyway,
plus 3.
Earlier this week, CCP started distributing the prizes for the last Alliance tournament.
Only 4 months after the last Alliance tournament ended.
Yes.
They were sharing
problem was that one team all of a sudden was out of their AT ships because they had been scammed with a contract. Now, how this all went down is rather complicated, and I know that Dirk has a lot to say about this.
Let's get through the facts first.
I'm pretty sure he also prepared a timeline.
Yeah. So
is there a PowerPoint presentation coming as well? Like...
No PowerPoints. I haven't had time for a PowerPoint. But
is this
if you had the opportunity?
Is this the Pelican package with the PowerPoint presentation?
No, it's okay.
Right. So this whole thing obviously starts with 1819 and teams winning prizes for 1819. 1819 ran in August this year, and CCP have spent time doing other things and didn't have the prizes ready for the end of the tournament. So CCP went, hey, look, we know who's getting prizes, we know what you're getting, so they're coming. They're coming down the line. And you fast forward a few months, and people are like, well, where are our prizes? Where are our prizes? Are they coming before the end of the year, even? Because CCP, you said in a dev blog, the prizes are coming before the end of the year.
Yeah, and it's getting towards the end of the year. Like,
we're in the last month of the year. We're like, come on. So, or we were almost in by this point. And
everybody knows they're like, they take time off at the end of the year for Christmas and all
anything after like December 20th, you can just write CCP off for the rest of December and into January. Pretty much, by and large, unless they're like the on-call team who deal with the server going down or whatever. So, in the week of November 20th-ish, 20th through 26th, CCP Zealous, who is the Alliance Tournament Administrator, he's the chief honcho at CCP for the Alliance Tournament at the moment. He says, look, guys, we've got them all sorted, the art team's done with them, the dev team are done with them, they're coming next week. So next week rolls around, we get to Monday the 27th, and people are like, Zealous, you said they were coming this week, when are they coming? Because EVE players are a notoriously impatient bunch. Zealous then tries to confirm his list of where ships should go, where prizes should go. Historically, pre-AT hiatus, prizes would always have gone to the Alliance Executor for whichever team won prizes, right? However, there have been, over the years, a lot of experiences that kind of felt bad to CCP, kind of felt bad to the people who were involved in them, with, like, an AFK Executor. So, like, the Executor gets the prizes, and nobody gets the prizes, because they're just sat in a hangar that nobody's doing anything about. Yeah. Or, the Executor goes, well, you guys won the prizes, but they're in my hangar, and I'm just gonna do what I want with them. Yoink. Feels a bit bad for teams who are putting in, tens, hundreds, up to 1,000 or like low quadruple digits of hours prepping in terms of man-hour. So, over the last couple of years, since they brought the AT back, CCP have kind of done this thing where they primarily look to give the prizes to the people who pay the entry fee and do the paperwork. So if you enter your team as a team captain, you pay the prize fee, or the sign-up fee, sorry. You are, by CCP's consideration, generally going to be considered the default guy for what should they do with the prizes, if they need to have that question. If the Executor pays the money, then they just consider, alright, the prizes go to the Executor, no big deal, all fine. So, on November 28th, CCP Zealous sends out a bunch of messages to various captains, including myself, asking, where should the prizes go? Should I send them to you? Should I send them to the Executor? We just want to confirm that the prize location that you guys want these prizes to go to is the correct location. Then on November 30th, it was Thursday, at downtime, the prizes were spawned into game and distributed to the places the prizes should go. In the case of one particular team, however, this was not how the whole process should have gone down. And what happened, as Soth alluded to, is the prizes ended up with their team's Executor, and their team's Executor, in his excitement, and as a result of process changes that CCP have made that are stupid as fuck, managed to be scammed out of that team's 8 Shapashas and 8 Cybels. 16 Alliance tournament ships, currently estimated around about 3 trillion ISKs worth of ships. Gone in a single yoink scam contract Jesus that has existed Christ. For 10 years because of process issues. Now, I don't necessarily want to call Baltram out too much, as he's had a bad week already, but, I mean, Baltram, really, you should have read the contract a little bit there. However, this is where it all gets kind of fucked, because there are tickets in to CCP GMs. CCP haven't said a word about any of this process, and the fact that these guys were able to be scammed out of it comes down to a few things.
Right.
But primarily, it comes back down to the way CCP have been delivering prizes over the last couple of years, and the fact that this is a weird as fuck process that should not continue. Should never have been in place in the first place, but it should not continue. And that process is that...
Most of all, CCP didn't even adhere to their own process.
Yeah. There's a whole lot of, like, weirdness here. But the team that were affected, Baltram's team, Ninja Assassin Esports Squad Team whatever, otherwise known as Jutsu, during the run-up to the Alliance tournament, they went through a significant rigmarole, talking to CCP Zealous, CCP Aurora, they submitted tickets, they did a whole lot of effort to make sure that their team captain was changed, because it was originally, as I understand it, it was originally the Basilisk, and this was switched over to Virion Stoneshard. I've seen bits of DMs between Baza and Zealous, which say Virion should be our primary contact moving forward, going back to July. And yet, Baza was asked, where should the prizes go, to confirm the prize location by CCP Zealous in November. So there's that one bit of CCP done fucked up. Because, based on everything that I've seen in terms of the screenshots and everything, Baza shouldn't have been the guy who was asked where they should go. Should have been Virion.
And so then Virion wasn't notified of this at all. Right?
Virion had no idea because Virion,
he was expecting to get the ships himself, and then the day they were delivered, he found out that they had gone to Bartram.
Then we get into the delivery method that CCP used to give us the prizes. Which is just, they ran a script that spawned built ships and or prize skins into the hangars of the characters that were designated at downtime.
Yeah, it's the equivalent of like having that and then just basically deliver to and then to the hangar, right? Like you don't get a notification that it's happened. You don't get any kind of like, any paper trail to say that this happened in any way, shape, or form, right? It's just, it's there.
It's just,
it wasn't there before.
It wasn't there before downtime. Now you have them. Here you go.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I didn't receive any scam contracts for our prizes. The person who did this reserved it for the kind of like top 8 teams or so, because your contract max is 21 in EVE Online. I'll get to the email in a minute, Starscream, it gets worse. But basically, these prizes were delivered, just spawned into hangars, like the ships were fully built. Historically, before the hiatus, these would have been delivered as X number of BPCs for the ships. So, you would be able to move the BPC from wherever it was contracted to you and, build it. But it's a lot easier to move a BPC than it is to move a built ship, as we know, especially like a cruiser.
Yeah.
And so there's that bit of, like, historically, they would have come in a contract. Captains or the executors would have to accept the contract. That would all have to, like, go through. CCP has handed the ships into a position where the executors can take the ships, and the executor has to click accept. They have to know that they have the thing. Last year, spawned in at downtime, no big deal. Now, the second part of CCP done fucked up to allow for this situation to even happen is, at downtime, on Thursday, CCP released a news article, which was the Alliance Tournament 19 wrap-up. And it talks about, who won ships, what amount they won, what the ships look like, the prize skins, which look cool, all of the bits of, these are the stats for the prize ships. It was a cool little article. I would strongly encourage people, if you're interested in the Alliance Tournament, to go read it. But one of the lines that CCP included in this article is the line, "These new ships and the Galente Victory skins are being distributed to the hangars of the Alliance executors, brackets, and in a few circumstances, some of the captains, end brackets, of the winning teams later today over in Jita 4-4.
Jesus.
That is a direct quote from that article.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. I'm literally looking at it right now. Like, they haven't removed or anything like that. It literally says it verbatim on the article.
Why would
it tells you who's getting them? It tells you where they're getting them. It tells you the fact that they are just being distributed to the hangars.
Yeah.
So it tells you all of the information. And
that you
just
need.
As a side point, I would like to say, CCP, you still need copy editors. You can't spell hanger correctly. But
I mean, it's called that because the ships are hanging from the roof, right?
But yeah, so CCP have released this article at downtime at the same time as they're running this script to poof things into Captain's hangar. Now, we get to the next stage, which is the fact that CCP do, in fact, via a GM that I'm not going to name, they do, in fact, send the people who received prizes an email telling them that they have received prizes. Now, the first question, what the fuck is email, and who the fuck is using it?
Like, it's kind of like people have forgotten about, like, Eve Skunk and the reasons why people don't use Eve mails, like, anymore for, like, that sort of stuff, right? Like, and it's just...
It gets better than this. The Eve mail, and I can go and find the timestamp. If people want the screenshot of the timestamp that I got my Eve mail regarding the fact that I had got prizes into my hangar in 4-4... The Eve mail is sent to the people who've received prizes at 13:37 on the day. CCP, it takes them 2.5 hours to send Eve mails to, like, fucking 45 people or whatever to tell you that you got prizes spawned into your hangar.
That feels more like somebody had set up a job lot to basically just send a bunch of emails at a particular time because they thought it would be fun to send an email about prizes about your AT prizes at late o'clock, right?
I mean, I hadn't quite clocked that part, but yeah, I received my Eve mail telling me that I got prizes at 13:37 Eve time on the day they were distributed. Some 2 hours and 30-ish minutes after they were put into my hangar. And after CCP had put an article out telling everybody who read it where and how and what they were getting.
Yeah, so people have these in their hangars, not knowing that they have them in their hangars, unless they literally looked at the...
Unless they read
the Alliance Tournament wrap-up, which, you know... They kind of already know what's going on. Yeah, for some people, right? Like, but there's also the expectation. There's also that expectation that, like, you know, these will be delivered via contracts because that's how it's been, you know, done many times before. And
there's a certain level of that. Yes.
Yeah,
exactly.
and then there's like 2 hours or like an hour. Was it like an hour or 2 hours? Like an hour
and a half hours or so.
Yeah, or so. Like between them being deposited and people actually being notified directly that they are in those hangars. Like,
yeah.
And so that's the window, right? That's the window that, like, anybody has to take the information that they've found in that Alliance Tournament wrap-up and just do what actually transpired.
And this is where we get to the situation of what happened to Jutsu's Alliance Tournament ships and the scam contract. Because the scam contracts were set up by a character called Concordoken. And as I've said already, these scam contracts weren't just sent to Baltram. It wasn't as if Baltram was targeted here directly. They were sent to, like, 8 teams worth of captains and executors, and that whole situation, there were a lot of teams who got these contracts and went, why would I do that? They read the contract and basically said, no. But the fact of the matter is, historically, CCP would have distributed these by contracts. They didn't this year, they didn't last year. They changed their process. Somebody logged in, saw a contract for Alliance tournament ships. They'd kind of expected that they would get our Alliance tournament ships via contract, because historically, there we go. And clicked accept.
On top of that, it was the first time for him to win Alliance tournament ships.
Yeah. First time he'd ever received that sort of thing and that situation. So he didn't even have a thing to go, well, might it be different this year?
And he was very excited.
Everyone's going to be very excited. There's 3 trillion ISKs worth of ships there.
Yeah, and to be fair, like, even though Tamba's kind of saying like he did click accept, like these contracts are always put together to look, unless to look initially like something that you should probably click accept to. Right?
Vaguely reasonable. This is what you're expecting. So these contracts,
there are ways of being able to reformat that image to basically make it much more apparent that this might not be what you want to like.
So these contracts were set up. All of these various scam contracts were set up around about 11:40 to 11:45 Eve time on the 30th of November. So in that window between CCP have distributed the prizes, CCP have put a dev blog out telling people exactly what they've won, because CCP in their dev blog also included a list of, these are the alliances that won ship, these are how many ships they won. So, you know that if you're sending a contract to somebody from Ninja Assassin Esports Squad team, you need to be setting up a scam contract for 8 ships of each cruiser and frigate. If you're sending a contract to the Tuskers, you need to be doing it for 20 and 20, such that you can try and trick these people into these things. So there's a 2.5-hour window between CCP depositing the things and informing people in client. There's a 2.5-hour window between CCP announcing these prizes have been distributed and informing people in the client. And in this window, in sneaks these scam contracts to try and trick somebody, as they did. Now, the scam contract itself, scam contracts have been part of EVE forever. I am not going to blow too many chunks about the fact that scam contracts exist and somebody got scammed. What I am really fucking concerned about here is the fact that by their own actions, CCP enabled this scam to be possible. By their own processes, enabled this scam to be possible, and so far have been quiet as the fucking grave as to what they're going to do about the fact that their actions directly enabled this possibility to exist with regards to prizes from their tournament. Like, I'm sure Sothrasil can kind of jump in for a minute here on how fucking awful we would feel if prizes for our tournament somebody got scammed out of that in terms of our delivery of prizes to people because, there was a process that didn't fucking exist, right? Like,
first of all, I do want to note that, Dirk, you should move your phone away from your microphone.
It's just sat on my fucking desk. What the?
I don't know. Like, you had some weird background noise there.
You're a little poppy. Little Poppy.
I've thrown it away. So anyway.
Call him Poppy Dirk.
When we are handing out prizes, we make the contract and then we actually notify the person directly, telling them, hey, you got a contract up from this character, right? And then could you please accept it? Because we have limited contract slots. But we do tell them from what character they should receive this contract, right? Just to make sure that they are not getting scammed out of anything.
And when we have in the past had people try and impersonate that character, we have reported it and gone ahead and like CCP have slapped them hard, right? We've made a point that when you receive prizes from us, they will come directly from us and you will know what the fuck is going on.
Yeah, and most of all, we notify people directly and immediately about these contracts. We don't wait 2.5 hours. We click finish on the contract and then DM them directly the same minute.
So, like, there's a whole, like, the scam contract itself, that's Eve. That's how Eve kind of works sometimes, right? If you're in a position where you can get scammed out of something and you are, fair play to the scammers, generally. But there is so much process that is just fucked that CCP directly, in my mind, in terms of the timeline of events, in terms of the way the dev blog happened, the Eve mail happened, the gap between them, and the direct deposit of these items just into hangars like that, just spawn.
Yeah.
This scam contract should never have been a possibility for anybody receiving prizes to have fallen for, because they are coming directly from CCP. There should have been a situation in which CCP put the items somewhere and then go, hey, if you are the person who is expecting to receive prizes, they have been put in this place for you, be it a contract, or, as some people have pointed out over the last few days, why the fuck are CCP not using their own fucking redeem queue for this thing? Like,
yeah, well, there's that.
They're willing to spam the redeem queue with fucking shitty boosters and like random skins that nobody wants. But when you're talking about 3 trillion ISK of Alliance Tournament prize ships, they can't figure out, put the ships somewhere, and then have the person who needs the ships, or the prize, or the skins, or whatever, pull the ships and skins from somewhere else as a direct action, you know, something that they know they have done to receive these things, and they know they have the items. Beyond that point, if there's a level of, I know I have these, and you still get scammed, well, that's on you. That's your fuck up. But this, I think, CCP has directly contributed to this. CCP need to own it. They need to man the fuck up about it. That's a bit misogynistic. I'm sorry about that one. But like, they need to own the fact that they made the mistake. They need to recognize it. They need to apologize. They need to change their fucking process. And they need to yank the ships back from that scammer and give them to the Jitsu team, specifically Virion, who should have had them in the first place, and not Boltram, who should never have had them.
And we don't give we shouldn't give a fuck as to whether those ships have been contracted or delivered or handed over to other people, etc., or if money's changed hands to sort of, because that's the other thing is sometimes people who scam, people who do this sort of thing, not even in sort of game, not even in EVE Online, but in other games where they're able to sort of gain items in an illicit way that it isn't basically kosher in any way, shape, or form. Generally what they would tend to do is they would tend to sort of start moving and throwing those particular objects through various different people and stuff like that in order to basically try and obfuscate what's going on, obfuscate who has it, and make the process of reversing that to be much more difficult. This shouldn't fly. You should literally just remove the items from whoever has it and put it back.
There's a couple of reasons that doesn't fly for Alliance tournament stuff specifically compared to any other item in the game. And I would like to point out, just a few months ago, we were all talking about 1,000 fucking officer smart bombs that a GM accidentally magicked into existence that were all yanked from wherever they ended up illicitly after the guy was stupid and tried to sell 1,000 of these things on the market. But CCP yanked that. Just they fixed the fact that they fucked up very quickly there. They need to do the same here. And it's even easier here because it's not as if an Alliance tournament prize ship is a random drop from something that could be or could not be legit. There are a set number of these things ever spawned. That's it.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
you know exactly how many of them there are. You look in the database to see exactly where they've gone. You can, but CCP have the logs of how these things are transferred between people. We know they do because they pull ISK back from all sorts of wallets, and they pull items back from all sorts of wallets when there is something illicit going on. So it's not hard for them to do.
Yeah, and they've already.
The thing is, for the future, we have a fucking redeem queue. Just use it.
I know
that's.
You
can't tell me you can like fill that fucking queue with all kinds of bullshit, but you can't deliver AT ships through it.
Yeah, the redeem queue like system is like, I can't see why nobody ever considered that to be the decent way of actually doing that, because that seems to be the most perfect way.
Yeah, I mean it's one of those things where, like, historically, and this comes into Tamba's question in Twitch chat about the process this year was different to the last year. My understanding is the process happened the same way last year, but there were a couple of situations around this year compared to last year. For example, the announcement dev blog going up at the same time as they distributed the prizes happened this year, didn't happen last year. I'd have to 100% double check, but my recollection is that they didn't happen at the same time. And equally, so last year it was, yes, direct spawning. Nothing bad happened last year, but that seems to me to be more luck than skill. And
I mean,
before last year and before the AT hiatus, certainly the process changed between before hiatus and after, because before it was always a contract to the person receiving the prizes.
The other thing is,
that change in direct spawning and built ships as well is weird.
You can't accept a scam contract to remove items that you don't have already, before you've accepted a contract to deliver the items to you from CCP, right? One, right? Secondly, as far as I know, there wasn't a roundup news article that tells you basically everything that you need to know in terms of setting these scams up. And thirdly, the fact that these were delivered the way that they were delivered, and then people who have these things delivered not get told about it for 2 hours, gives people opens that window for people for this to happen, right?
It's immediately a window of opportunity.
Plus, the person who was supposed to be in charge of receiving these ships explicitly said that he wanted them to deliver to him and not the executor.
Yeah.
And so that wasn't
and CCP were very aware of this. There's so many little things that CCP could have done differently this year to completely remove the possibility of this happening, right? Nithc in Twitch chat is saying that the contract is trying to impersonate CCP. It's a character called Concord Oaken. It's a bit of a meme. I'm not. I don't really want to. It's reaching a bit, but I have just pulled up the Alliance Tournament 18 wrap-up article, and the Alliance Tournament 18 wrap-up article was posted the 9th of December last year. And we've got to remember, last year the Alliance Tournament happened in October, November, Soth, right?
No idea.
It was later in the year though, because they switched it to summer and everybody complained. So CCP had a lot shorter of a window between the tournament happening and the wrap-up. And in the wrap-up, they also have a section on prizes where they say prizes are to be delivered soon. The teams have been hard at work on the prize ships and skins, almost ready to be distributed to the hangars. Again, they spell hangars wrong, but, CCP. But they say that almost ready to be distributed to the hangars, so they're doing that direct distribution last year again. But aiming to be delivered before the end of the year. Not a date, not a time, not a location. None of the details that you would need to set up a scam contract like this and have it work so well.
I'm just going to point out that I'm just going to buy the premium Grammarly subscription for CCP. I'm just going to do that. Right. That's going to be their Christmas present. I'm just going to say. All right, go on.
Santa Christmas present.
So in all of this, it's like it's that bit of that. There's no level of all of this timeline, all of this process. Even before we get to the scam contract and the scam contract being Eve and right, fine. Sometimes people get scammed in Eve. That's a thing. We all kind of accept that and move on. But there should never have been an opportunity for the scam to have existed, because CCP should have had processes in place that were better than this to directly provide and ensure that the recipients of these prizes knew they need to utilize them already.
Well, the thing is, they need to utilize. They already have these processes. They already have these mechanisms in the game. They just need to use the actual. They need to use a mechanism that is just more secure.
It's not difficult, right? Like you create a system where you put the prizes in one place, and the other person has to actively retrieve them so that they know they have them.
And maybe notify the people who are getting it before they send them out, not 2 hours after.
I was gonna rephrase something that you said, and I'm trying to figure out what I was gonna do, Dirk. Because I don't know, you said something about CCP needed better processes or something like that.
Yeah, this entire situation, the fact that these tournament ships have gone walkabout, is a process failure.
Well, so what you were saying is, previous years they just said X, and this year they provided the exact blueprint to scam certain characters out of a prize they were providing. That's the difference, right?
Yeah, I'm going to come back.
CCP telegraphed how to scam some players.
I'm going to come back to the exact words. I'm going to take a quote from CCP's dev blog. Teams have worked hard on the prize ships, and these were added. Okay. And yeah, that sentence doesn't make sense as I read it. CCP, copy editors, where the fuck are they? The teams have worked hard on the prize ships and were added during today's patch. What was added during today's patch? Come on. It's simple. But
CCP added the teams.
and these prizes were added during today's patch. These new ships and the Galente Victory skins are being distributed to the hangars of Alliance executors, parentheses, and in a few circumstances, some of the captains of the winning teams later today over in Jita 4.4. So they know the date, they know where, they know the fact that they've been spawned into hangars.
Which is a very important thing.
And if you do a very basic amount of research, you already know, because CCP provided a table in this document. They provided a table of the team, so they know which alliance, and they know how many, because CCP specified how many of each Shapash and Cybele. And with the most basic amount of research, you can find who the Alliance Executor is, the Executor character, and you can find also who their team captain was, because you can look at the official EVE Online Discord where a bunch of people have team captain signs.
Dude, the first scam is so easy. The first scam is so easy because, you literally just look above, the table, just in case you missed the finals, which is actually linked, so you can go to the finals and see who are captaining the finals. By the way, fraternity under the captaincy of Fubuki Waifu. So you got a name right there initially, is for fraternity's one.
So all you have to do for fraternity is go find which fucking executor character Nereus is using today.
Yeah,
and there you are. You've got 2 contracts to the Executor and Fubuki for all of their Alliance tournament prize ships, and you're kind of spreading your net across, fucking 100 Alliance tournament prize ship with 20 contracts.
Yeah,
it's insane to me that CCP would allow, or that. Not that they would allow, but the fact that everything you need to create a scam contract like this, CCP have provided you.
like I said, they telegraphed the blueprint, right?
And then, like, and again, like, this comes back to the process issue, because if CCP had a process for providing the ships in a location that the captains or the executors had to access to retrieve the prizes, this would not have been possible. Because then you would know any contract for these items is illegitimate.
Yeah.
You would know straight away. And at that point, if it's a scam contract and you fall for it, fuck you, you're out of luck. But this is one of those things where CCP's processes directly contributed.
Yeah.
And I'm just amazed that they haven't turned around already and said, yeah, sorry, we fucked up, let's fix it. Because that's the only answer to this, really.
You know what they have
It's your tournament.
Yeah. You know what they have done in terms of turning around and saying stuff about? They've turned around and said, said that they're going to be like confiscation of LP and blueprints with the sort of Azariel and
they're really worried about that LP.
Yeah, they're worried about that stuff, but they're not worried about all of the fucking 3 trillions worth of ships that were scammed, mostly down to the fact that they fucked up and with their processes and stuff. Let's screw over people who played the game the way that CCP laid it out.
Mm-hmm.
And then be basically mad about the way that people played it out. I get that people farmed BP faster than they expected to, but it's a sandbox, right? That's how people approach the game. Is supposedly it's a sandbox, right?
Yeah.
And
I want to answer some folks in chat, right? That are just being stupid, right? Because they think we're getting a little upset about this. No, I mean, what we're challenging.
I hate to say that, CCP may not state explicitly that it is a sandbox, but you literally go to eveonline.com. It says the #1 space MMO, and then they literally have things from they have quotes from various different gaming
review sites and stuff.
Sites. And one of the first one that generally tends to come up is PC Gamer saying one of the best sandbox MMOs in existence, or whatever it is.
So the LP thing, CCP didn't like how people were farming the LP. Well, it was their mechanisms, and they yanked it. But
exactly. So
I want to come back to what Erik was trying to do. Yeah, Erik. You go ahead.
So, I mean, Goons lost a bunch of money in a whole thing that went down, right? We didn't rail and rant against that. That was just our dumbness. Right?
That's the way it goes, right? Sometimes.
But the difference here is that CCP provided the roadmap to allow the scamming, right?
Well,
had they been more vague, probably wouldn't have happened.
Possibly because it didn't happen on the previous one to this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or had they had a different process in place. This is what I'm railing against, right? The question about moaning over somebody getting scammed. The scam is just why we're talking about it. The fact that this was executed, the fact that this was possible to happen, is why we're talking about it. But the issue isn't the scam itself. The issue is the scenario running up to the scam. The fact that CCP enabled this scam to be possible directly through process failures. Distributing items directly from themselves to people as a result of a tournament they run. It's not the scam, it's not the contract. If the process had been better, and people knew that they had the items immediately, people were engaged in a situation where they had to retrieve the prizes from a redeem queue or a contract. They would know they had the prizes. If they then fell for a scam, I don't give a shit, right? The scam happens, that's Eve, fine, whatever, that's content. But the CCP process failure is the issue. Yeah. And this is why I'm ranting about it, because CCP, I have spent a lot of weeks a lot of the last few weeks like praising CCP to the high heavens about the new content, the new ships, the way EVE seems to be going. It seems to be going in a good direction generally, right? Like, we've had people here amazed that I've been this positive about EVE Online historically. You know, it's been great recently. But this is a significant point of CCP, you done fucked up and you need to fix it. And that's why I'm talking about it. And that's why I'm so upset about it, because, you know, we tell CCP when we like what they're doing. We need to tell CCP when they fucked up as well. And in this situation, they fucked up on a number of levels that led to
I don't want to. I don't want to
see a bunch of people who put in hundreds of hours of practice time and prep time and did very well in the tournament that CCP run, CCP organize.
Yeah.
And they've been scammed out of their winnings through no fault of their own because CCP's processes were wrong. Were bad. Should have been better.
What I'm concerned about is like CCP bringing out of basically things saying like, you know, XYZ happened, you know, the people who set up the scam contracts that scammed these things, you know, should not have done it, etc. It was out of bounds of etc, blah blah blah. Like, you know, in the same way that they did the sort of like the loyalty point kind of stuff, right? It's, you know, they have to at least acknowledge their part in this, right? Like, it's not just, they can't just say, oh, it was, you know, we did everything perfectly fine. You know, it was just it was our players, some of our players who were basically being arseholes. Like, no, like CCP, you did play a part in this that caused it to happen.
And for some of the people who are joining us, I mean, I appreciate that at this point we've been talking about this for a bit, probably 40, 45 minutes. If you joined us in that time and during some of the rants, we did lay out a whole timeline of how this happened. What happened when, who got what details. Like, it is, once you look at the full timeline, there are so many glaring issues that need to be addressed. The contract at the end of it is just like, whatever. Like, the contract should never have been a possibility, realistically, but CCP enabled that. And so here we are. But I mean, CCP need to recognize they enabled that and they need to fix it.
Yeah.
Eric, Tamba wants to know what you think about something.
About this.
Hold it. Who does?
I guess.
Where's
Tamba.
Tamba, Caldari Prime Pony Club, otherwise known as Tamba, who is a wonderful skin manufacturer.
I think I was pretty clear. CCP provided the roadmap to enable it.
I mean, they should at least, you know, own up to their side of it, right? Like,
they should come out and say, I mean, from a business perspective, right? It's just a company, right? You know, hey, you know, we provided way too much information than we should have. We enable this. But by the way, they do enable it by saying it's okay to scam, right? So this is where they're in a little bit of a sticky wicket, maybe, you know.
But it's also one of the sort of like things that separates EVE from other MMOs, right? Like that people can kind of do this sort of stuff. But like, if you're gonna say people are allowed to do this sort of stuff, you know, player on player,
you can't provide the blueprint. You can't provide the blueprint, and you can't fall for it yourselves. Like, you can't, you know, be the person that generates the opportunity. Need to be a little smarter, CCP, and so in so doing, right, they've got to figure out a way to get out of this, right? Not saying that scamming is not allowed in the game, but at the same time, they've got to get out of it by saying, you know, hey, we provided way too much information.
And you know, to answer and to you know, to basically copy what Nablus said in chat, like, unironic, like they people shotgunned, or the person who did this, I'm not sure whether it was just one person or was multiple people who did it.
It was the same character.
Same character, or whether it was multiple characters or whatever. But
it was
the same person essentially shotgunned contracts to every single team, every single executor of the alliance that won, and also the
as many as they could, starting from the top.
Yeah, but it was a very limited list because CCP gave them, a lot of information as to how how the prizes were going to be delivered, who they were going to be delivered to, and how many they were going to be delivered to every single kind of group. Like they literally it was literally a table showing exactly how many were going to each team. Yeah. So it was.
Eligos is saying that he wants us to soapbox when a true noob to this game gets railed on by market salts that run scams. Like, this is where we get to the distinction.
We're not aggravated because somebody scammed somebody else. We're aggravated because CCP played a big part in it.
Literally, I don't care less about the scam.
That is exactly the best way to characterize this, McLeod. That was very good.
Yeah. This is not about the scam contract. This is just the fact that the scam contract was the one thing. It was luck, not skill, that CCP didn't run into this issue last year. It has been, luck, not skill, that they ran into this problem this year. CCP is like that they ran into this problem because their processes are not good enough. That's it.
I do need to point out here that this entire AT team had their prizes taken away from them, which was none of their fault, right? None of these people that worked for this were involved in this, even though they should have been. They asked for their prizes to be delivered to their captain, and they weren't. Right? If the team captain himself had fucked this up, then fair game.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, this is the other
didn't happen.
Virian should have been the guy with the prizes because the Basilisk, who was previously the captain, told CCP Virian should be our captain. He should be our primary point of contact. He should do the things and get the things. Mm-hmm. And then CCP asked Bazza anyway. And Bazza went, yeah, sure, fuck it, give him to Baltram, because Bazza's been busy with life. And they should never have been possible.
Wait, that was after Virian already told CCP that he wants the prizes to go to him.
Yeah, so this is like, back in July, Virian and Bazza did this whole extensive thing to say, CCP, for the purposes of this Alliance tournament, Virian should be our point of contact. Yes, Bazza did all of the work for the paperwork and everything, but Virian should be the guy. And they did it through a number of avenues. And yet, when it came to CCP Zealous deciding to contact people and double-check, do his due diligence, fair enough, he did his due diligence, but he did it with the wrong guy.
Yeah.
Though, here's an interesting question for you, and maybe to get us away from running in circles. What do you think are the options for CCP to solve this?
I mean, I think Dirk, you mentioned the best way, which is the redeem queue, right?
There's two different.
No, I'm not asking. How do we avoid this happening again? I'm asking, how do we resolve this issue with the ships being gone from this team?
Oh, right.
I mean, there's like I was about to say, there's two different issues here. There's the CCP process issue, which CCP just needs to take on board the fact that everything that people have said, and kind of go, okay, yes, they've made some good points, because it's not difficult to take that on board and make new processes or improve the existing processes, right? We've laid it out for them, like, use the redeem queue, use contracts again, just do something different that requires active engagement from the people receiving the prizes, such that they know that they have the prizes. That's easy. Nice and simple. Just improve the process. It's not hard. With regards to the tricky situation of somebody got scammed, it was a legitimate scam, but somebody got scammed, and as a result of that scam largely was enabled by CCP. I mean, Tamba says if somebody knew how it worked last year, they could have figured it out and done the scam this year. Yes, kind of. Apart from the fact that whoever would have set up that scam wouldn't necessarily know unless CCP had... If CCP hadn't said, we're doing it today, they wouldn't have known, set up the scam contracts today. At which point
it was
you
also
basically...
possible. It was also possible CCP would go back to handing out BPCs.
Yeah. So, like, there's a lot of bits of... Without XYZ all being in place, this wouldn't have happened. So, given CCP's significant involvement in this, my perspective is that they should yank the ships from the person who scammed them and wherever the ships may have gotten to from that character, right? Like, I'm not gonna be an idiot and suggest they haven't made it down the chain to other people. But like, it's one of those situations where pull the ships back from wherever they've got to. It's not hard. They know how many of them there are and where they'd have gone, and give them to the person who should have had them in the first place, which is Varian. That is the best way to deal with this in terms of the PR perspective, in terms of keeping people engaged with the Alliance tournament, and CCP just being a respectable, honest company. Like, they made a mistake, they contributed to this, they need to fix it.
Yeah, they
However,
the
other option they have is to just say, well, this is Eve, and throw their hands up and not do anything. I'm thinking they're still considering it, because one of the things that we need to consider is that Baltram has his characters locked currently after he extracted some skill points to try and give his guys something. So I think CCP may have locked all of the assets while they consider it. But, like, yeah, the end result, in my mind, is that they should own up to it and fix it by yanking them back and getting them to the right person.
Yeah, I think you're missing something there, though. The scammer acted well in his right and well in the scope of what is possible and quote unquote legal in EVE Online, right? So just yanking the ships away from the scammer, I think, would be wrong. And I also predict that a lot of people would get upset if CCP does that. So I would say, still yank the ships from the scammer, because just making 8 more of them is not an option, right?
No.
8 more of each, by the way. But you should still give the scammer some kind of like consolation prize, right? They did the work. I know people will say, "Oh yeah," but like they didn't do that much. They were smart enough to see that announcement and put one and one together and put the right contracts up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
they were smart enough to do that, and they do deserve, I think, at least something for it, right? And it costs CCP literally nothing to throw them some plaques.
And in fact, you know, it kind of, I mean, hell, finder's fee for process issues. throw them a bone for exposing the fact that CCP should not be talking about these pieces of information quite so
openly.
I was going to say in such a timely manner, right? Like, you could turn around and say
you can send that out once everybody's got the, you know, their ships and everything, their prizes and stuff, right? Like, that's fine. But sending it before and then not notifying people how they're being sent until after they've actually had them delivered is also another fucking terrible thing as well. So yeah.
Tamba in Twitch chat, set of one-off scam skin.
That would be kind of funny, actually.
That would be an incredible thing from CCP. Here's like
I mean,
a couple of skins that the art team put together that are unique.
If only there was someone with a lot of skill and talent to be able to create those skins. Hey,
exactly, and under contract with CCP now as well.
Yeah, exactly.
And by the way,
you're all missing something here. It's Tamba. He's the one who made the contracts.
Oh my god!
By the way,
4D chess.
By the way, to be clear, right? We're not saying like the scammer's a bad person and shouldn't have done this. Right? We're just saying. By the way, we don't. That's not the point. The point is CCP as a company, when servicing their customers, needs to be more careful in the future of what they're doing. Right? This is really it, right? If they didn't provide all the super secret information that somebody wouldn't have known, this really wouldn't be an issue.
Realistically, we wouldn't even have known about the process issues if the scam hadn't happened. So that's why we're talking about it in these contexts. But, like, we're not talking about CCP should ban scams or anything. No, scams are an integral part of EVE Online. And realistically, like, you know, if you go back and listen to some of our other shows, you'll hear us railing against CCP for their changes to ganking mechanics, for example. Because these are things that we came up in EVE through, and like these mechanics are fine. These mechanics are like really just great parts of the drama of EVE Online, and it's nice to see. The issue is when CCP specifically are a part of that, rather than letting it be part of the sandbox. And that's the issue. CCP's processes fucked up such that they are part and parcel of why this scam happened. And they should not be. CCP should be detached from that through their processes. There should be enough of a situation where you can't even link, right? Like, I can take you through, and I have today, the timeline, the situation, all the rest of it. I should not be able to do that. I should not be able to link CCP directly to the fact that this scam was possible.
Yeah.
But I can. So there we are.
And that's the unfortunate thing, right? And
that's it. That's my rant at the end of the day.
So that was the rant that
we've only taken an hour of that rant.
That was the hour-long rant that Dirk had promised at the start of the show. So, you know.
It's been a while since you've had a proper rant from me. So
exactly.
You guys should be happy.
In other somewhat related news, that we did actually touch on during the conversation about this, it's possible that the Azerial blueprint that was put up on contracts for 1 trillion ISK may have actually been pulled by CCP. You know about
this? It kind of gets me mad, right? They called this an exploit, right? After the fact, after we told them weeks, if not months before this went live, that it is a stupid idea, and told them exactly what would happen. And guess what happened, right? But on the other hand, I want to remind you of how Mr. V lost his Titan once.
Oh, you're talking about the bump.
His Titan was in a POS, right? They dropped a Cyno close to the POS shields and dropped a bunch of Titans right next to him, which bumped him out of the POS, which at that point was already declared an exploit. Right? Nothing happened to those people.
No.
The blueprint should still exist.
Yeah.
Like, dude got it before it was declared an exploit. Dude got it while it was all fair game.
You know, CCP, you know, may not officially say it's like a sandbox MMO, but they tout, you know, on the front page of EVE Online, you know, that this game is called, you know, one of the best, you know, sandbox MMOs, you know, and if you're going to basically, you know, do that, showcase the game in that kind of way, then when people use the sandbox in the way that you have, kind of presented the game to us, when we kind of grind the LP in ways that may be slightly different to how you initially designed the thing, don't fucking penalize people for it. I just find it fucking annoying.
You just find it annoying.
Like there's obviously a kind of there's obviously a sort of like a spectrum, right, between things that you can do in the game that is normal game mechanics, right, and then there is things that you do in things that you can potentially do in the game that are really quite weird, not typical game sort of like actions, that kind of thing, right? Things that people who are blatantly trying to glitch, people who are trying to find workarounds and stuff like that in really obscure and weird ways, right? This isn't that. This is people using the like normal game mechanics in creative ways, right?
I mean, that's it's all not even creative in that sense.
Yeah, it's like everybody knows about the whole, killing blues to potentially, help in a certain way, right?
It comes back to the same sort of shit as CCP gave us an idea of what they were going to do with raw calls ahead of time. We told them what we would do if they introduced those rules. CCP introduced the rules, and we did what we told them they would do. Right?
Yeah, it would be the equivalent of like CCP going and removing everything that like raw calls did in the game. After that kind of point, like it would just be ludicrous.
Dude found a mechanic and he abused it. Fair enough. Like, I'm not going to say it wasn't abused to build and manipulate the price as well, as I understand it. The cost of all of the ships that he was smart bombing to farm his LP in Losec. I'm not going to say it wasn't like a bit of an abuse in terms of it wasn't the intended way to grind that LP.
We've
fair enough. CCP can declare a mechanic, but dude should be able to keep his blueprint because he got there first, right?
But we've seen this action, like we've seen this sort of stuff being done at almost an industrial level scale to manipulate certain indices, right? In systems to be able to kind of like do certain things, right? Like
someone's asking how many goons got banned when the same mechanic was abused after the faction warfare update. I'm pretty sure it wasn't goons that got banned for it.
Like, yeah. I mean,
wasn't it pizza?
Goons aren't generally heavily involved in faction warfare unless, like, it's something like immeasurably awesome, like the recent update.
There were 4 goons banned. Do you know how many goons there are? Like.
Yeah.
I mean, it's that bit of like how many goons were banned.
It's not even a rounding error. That's the rounding error on the rounding error.
Like, especially when you consider some of the stuff that goons have pulled over the years in terms of like LP mechanic inflation back in 2012, 2013. OTEC as well. Like, really? So. 5 goons and their alts being banned for some faction warfare LP price manipulation is nothing. But, yeah, I mean, when it comes to the guy who ground out his Azariel BPC in, like, a week and a half, let the dude keep his BPC. I mean, whatever.
Right.
We have a. I think there's a poll going out, like from Tamba, like. How many people want people to keep the BPC or lose the BPCs? The Azariel one, I guess. So
all of them, but yeah. Did we actually get an answer from Eric about the peanuts or M&Ms?
Question. Peanuts.
Tamba wants to know what you're eating. Yeah.
Peanuts.
Planters peanuts. Yeah, right. Fair enough.
They are Redskin Spanish peanuts. They're kind of my favorite. I don't like dry roasted, all that bullshit. And by the way, for those out there in the audience who may or may not be diabetic, these are excellent to munch on because sugar goes into your system very slowly. So there you go.
Mm-hmm. So, however, if you have a nut allergy, don't eat them.
Yeah, don't eat them.
Big dry roasted guy, though.
But
I'm a big dry roasted fan rather than anything else.
No, these are. For the people who hate the word, they're moist.
Well, look, Soth, we're having a sidetrack about peanuts for a couple minutes. Hold your thing. What are your preferred peanuts, Soth or so?
By the way, I can't. I have a thing where I can't sit down and eat a giant steak or a big meal.
It was a personal attack.
I mean, we got 15 minutes left to get through this, right? And you're getting sidetracked by peanuts.
No, you've got 20 minutes left.
Hey, look, I asked you.
We need 5 minutes for one last thing, so we got 15 minutes left.
Oh, I thought
I
you
asked
said
you a question about your preferred peanuts, and you haven't answered yet. Give me a damn answer.
By the way, I heard 50, not 15 when you said that, so that's why I said
it.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, go on, carry on.
My preferred peanuts, salted and glazed, please.
Salted and glazed.
By the way, these are
honey glazed,
sweet. Yeah, honey glazed. Like
these are
and salty. Like best combination.
These are lightly salted. And by the way, planters, if you would like to sponsor the show, we'd love to have you. Just so you know. Okay, thanks.
I would also like to point out that we should probably announce this. We don't have a meta show today. Both Brisk and Mark are out, so we don't have a hugely hard deadline. However, we do have the Cartridge to Cloud crew coming back for the Game Awards this Thursday, the 7th. If people want to go ahead and watch, so yeah.
Actually, that's an interesting thing that you decided to bring up because
I'm just overriding Soth and what he wants to talk about for as long as possible. That's all I'm doing.
So there's something specific that you want to talk about because it's a quite a nice segue.
No, I just want to give a note to CCP.
Another note.
Okay.
Yeah, a little note. You had a small error in a sale you announced. CCP, I gotta tell you, Cyber Monday was this week.
It happened already.
It's already over.
It's already over, man.
When are they?
But what isn't over is obviously the Game Awards, right? And the Game Awards is coming as Dirk has said. You know, we've got a stream coming up with Cartridge Cloud for the Game Awards, right? Now, why I'm mentioning this specifically is because on Friday we have the potential of Vanguard actually being not released, but basically available for Omega Eve subs to try out, right? And I'm wondering whether CCP. I mean, I would be impressed if they were aware enough for this to happen. So I wouldn't actually expect it, but like there might be, and I really stress the might. There might be some kind of announcement maybe for Vanguard on the Game Awards, because they do on the Game Awards they do generally tend to do some like announcements for various different things. So you never know, it might. Yeah, I just wanted to mention that.
There you go. 10 minutes. Fill it,
Oh dear.
Gotcha.
I do like the Game Awards are coming up. As you said, who do you think is gonna win the award of defending their games in the comments.
I'm certain that that Bethesda are going to walk this one. Like, you know, I mean, have you seen how many like, you know, games journos have given it like, you know, 5 out of 5 and 90% and like 100%.
Yeah, Starfield are doing
right?
great.
It must be an amazing game.
And
That's all I'm saying.
Best of all, it is from well-known places that none of us have ever heard of.
I mean, the best one, literally the best one in terms of the Starfield reviews, is the review from Digital Chumps, which is a 9.5 out of 10. I mean, like we have this image, and I'm gonna drop it into the staff chat to see if Eric can pull it up on screen for you guys. But Starfield has so many bits of reviews. Like there's fucking 40 odd of them on this page that I've just linked in the staff chat so that Eric can pull it up. And every single one of them, apart from like IGN Japan, maybe, or literally like IGN España as well, are not really review places that anybody would recognize as a gaming review place.
It got a 5 out of 5 from Cineflix, which I don't know if you noticed that name.
Oh no.
That's not a site for games, it's for movies.
Yeah.
So yeah.
In this list as well, we have a 5 out of 5 from the Evening Standard.
But I mean, come on. Bethesda worked 7 years to make this game fun, right?
Forbes gave it a 9.5 out of 10.
They probably should have put another 7 years in, because I gotta tell you, the game isn't fun after 7 years. Just imagine like how terrible it was like a year earlier, right?
I love the 9.8 out of 10 from Ultima Feature.
Oh.
Anybody in the chat got any idea who Ultima Feature are?
I've never heard of them. But then again, I've also never heard of Attack of the Fanboy giving it a 5 out of 5.
I mean, that sounds like that name is on point.
I mean, it is on point, but it does also ring very true in terms of it maybe being like one single person's like, you know, lone website, right? Where they review things.
How the top left one is the only one who kind of breaks out of the general pointing system.
They do a 4 out of 4. From the Washington Post as well. I mean, other fun names in that list: Alpha Beta Huega.
It's just God damn it, Jesus Christ.
So yeah, let's be real here when it comes to the Game Awards. Baldur's Gate 3 is going to walk away with all of the awards ever.
I mean, are they going to be able to hold all of them? I'm not entirely certain. Like,
I mean, they already walked away with like 7 golden joysticks this year. So
there's a few more games that could potentially get an award here or there. I want to point out Alan Wake 2.
Alan Wake 2 probably.
I like Remedy. I might be branding myself as an old fart here for liking Max Payne.
No, that's fair.
Yeah, Remedy are cool. Especially their CEO, who plays a character in literally every game they have made, right?
I mean, we should be real and say that Far Cry 6 is going to get probably 1 or 2. I hadn't actually realized that Far Cry 6 was released this year until the Steam Awards, but like they'll probably get 1 or 2. I mean, Far Cry 6 was just so much like Far Cry 5, which was so much like Far Cry 4. Like, remembering which year these games were released in is difficult sometimes.
Oh, Jesus. I would say that, like, despite the controversy surrounding, when it was released, sort of thing, the actual kind of gameplay, and the fact that the game didn't have like an absolute shit ton of bugs or like issues with, the general issues that you normally get with like a new release game kind of thing, like was very much not really in this. But like, I think Hogwarts was probably a decent one to sort of like maybe get like 1 or 2.
No, I don't think so.
The only issue with that is, the controversy surrounding it was kind of a bit like horrendous.
Let's be honest here. Hogwarts is not a good game, right? It's being carried by its IP. But the game itself,
it does get carried by its IP. It did a lot of, I think it did a lot of good kind of like representation of the world and of like, the various different aspects of the world. But like, if you're going to put it against obviously something like Baldur's Gate, right? Like it's going to pale in comparison.
Yeah,
obviously.
Exactly.
Obviously.
In all aspects, right? Let's remember that the game was running horrible on launch, and as far as I know, still does. Right. Meanwhile, you have Baldur's Gate 3. They have dropped patch number 5 yesterday. That is 5 major patches in 3 months.
That's not bad then. Yeah, that's fair. That is fair. Okay. I just thought I'd want to bring that in. That, because I was like running through the sort of like the the people who nominate like the various different games that were nominated for various different things, and it's like, oh well, certain people were going to be walking that, and I was just kind of looking at it kind of like, well, if Baldur's Gate wasn't there, then who would potentially win?
That's a really good question.
Because we all know that Baldur's Gate is going to win. Like pretty much every single, every category that they're in.
They might realize that it's a bit over the top to give everything to Baldur's Gate 3 and actually give a few things to other games, right?
Yeah, I mean, you're going to see like
actually get one.
You're going to see an indie game pick up a couple of awards, or like a couple of indie games pick up a couple of awards.
And I hope Alan Wake 2 gets a award, because those guys deserve it.
I'll be impressed if Baldur's Gate 3 comes away with the best esports coach award.
No, but in line with what happened at one of the other awards ceremonies this year, an esports coach that isn't even an esports coach this year is probably going to win it.
Yeah, the thing is, the whole esports scene is kind of crumbling right now, because of a lot of the investors are running away from them, right?
Well, it's because they're they keep on getting mired in controversy, like the esports, like members of the esports teams and stuff, right? Like
it's also that everyone hyped up esports as the next big thing for for advertisers and for people to invest in, and it really
hyped up is like a really tame way of being able to describe it, because they basically said it's going to be the next like major league football. Like they basically said, everything that happened to Major League Football with regards to the amount of money that has been pumped into it and the amount of money that gets made in it is going to happen to esports. And it's just like, that's quite a significant thing to say, you know? And obviously it hasn't happened, but you never know. Like it's one of those, that's one of those sorts of things that takes a while to develop.
I mean, in some areas of the world, it has become that, right? If you look in South Korea, for example, esports is really big.
Well, esports is really big because like the broadcasters in South Korea like broadcast esports a lot, like, and not just because it's big, but like it's big because the broadcasters in South Korea, you know, have like really helped it out in that regard. Like I don't know what it's like in Germany or in America, but like I could not find a national or even somewhat local broadcaster broadcasting esports ever.
Yeah, it doesn't happen in Germany.
Exactly.
Okay, so we have a last minute change in today's streaming schedule.
Ooh.
Mark Resurrectus has announced that, in fact, he is not traveling as we understood and will be running the show today with some guests. So there is going to be a meta show in slightly more than an hour. He has literally told us this in the last minute, so...
So, guys, don't worry, there is a meta show coming.
Mark will be talking to undisclosed guests for an hour later on today.
Yeah.
For the person asking if Alan Wake 2 got released, apparently October 27th. I haven't played it yet, but I heard good things.
Right. I guess like 2 minutes, like one last things real quick.
All right. Fire it around. Okay.
Jack, you got one last thing that we haven't talked about, or
I want to note there. I want to note that for Mark. You sound like you're not sure that you're having guests on today, so you know how to reach us, right? Just get ranting about the contract thing again, and the show will be over, basically.
Tell us how you really feel, Dirk.
I always tell you how I really feel. But we'll be honest here and suggest the fact that I've been I've been on quite such an even keel recently has probably led to just how annoyed I am about this contract thing. Like
Eve and keel, right?
Eve and kill, yes.
Yeah. See, you said it. You didn't even realize what you said.
Other than that, yeah, I mean, we've talked about my big things for today, which is CCP, fix your fucking processors. And also, Anger Games 6 points were released today because we didn't want to give our points consultants an unfair advantage. We do reserve the right to change the points for the Anger Games 6, which is coming soon, TM. Full rules release is December 31st, sometime that day, and we will be looking forward to bringing you all along for another Anger Games with a lot of rule shakeups that we can't talk about yet.
Did you mention that the rules will be released this year?
Yes, rules will be released this year.
Even if it's
at the end of this year, very end of this year, but, you know, this year.
The last minute of 2023.
Oh, we should probably also throw out a reminder that Eve Vanguard, the First Strike playtest, alpha test, whatever the fuck they're calling it, is starting on Thursday and running all through next weekend.
The non-NDA'd playtest.
Yeah, the non-NDA playtest. It's a ton of fun, but, you know, You guys should play it as it comes out so that we can talk about it properly. I will not be here next week. I'm traveling to see family, but you guys should all play it, and then we can talk about it the week after.
Don't worry too much, because Bard Ghost should probably be here next week, and he can tell us all about the furry Smurf.
He can show up in his Smurf costume.
Yeah, all right. Exactly. We're getting told fireside time. I love that sort of thing. Fireside time, you fools. I love it. I love it.
There's a fireside thing. My quick one last thing is 22 of the 26 weirdest advent calendars of 2023 is one that if you have a dog who's been a very good boy, you can get a 12 days of Woofmas dog biscuit advent calendar. Check that shit out.
Woofness. Yeah. All right, everybody. My one last thing is, make sure you buy many advent calendars to enjoy all the things. All right. We are out of here. We'll see you next week.
All right.
See you later, guys.
We are clear.